Hello, this is Joanne Hewins. I am from lovetocreate.typepad.com and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I want to show you how to make this card. It is using the Animal Expedition suite. This is in the annual catalog, and it's on page 26 and 27 of the catalog, and you can see it has the stamp set, the framelits. The stamp set is Animal Outing, the framelits are Animal Friends, and then it has the Animal Expedition Designer Series paper, and the cardstock pack, this really neat leaf ribbon, and some wooden elements. There's the framelit set. So let's get started. For the Joy Fold, it's really 2 cards inside of one. So we have the regular size card that is actually cut halfway across here, and then we have a smaller card that fits inside but backwards. So we'll talk about the measurements of that as we go along. I'm going to start with a card base of Berry Burst. This card stock is cut at 4 1/4 and by 8 1/2. Now you know our paper is comes 8 1/2 by 11, so you're really just going to come in and cut 4 1/4 on that. And then I have a score line. It's at 3. Now I will have this video linked to my blog post, and all of the measurements will be on there. So I have this scored at 3, and I'm going to fold that. Okay, and then we're going to put in some of the Designer Series paper. So this one is cut to fit back here on the back, so it is 4 by 5 1/4. So let me go ahead and get that on there. Okay, and then I'm going to have a piece that goes on the front. This is from the same pack of paper, and this measures 2 3/4 by 4. So let me put some tape on that and get it here on the inside. So that part of the card is ready. And now we'll work on the inside part of the card. For this, I'm going to use Lemon Lime Twist. This was Berry Burst. Both of these are in colors that will be retiring at the end of May. So this piece is 3 inches by 8 inches. The score is halfway across at 4. So I'm going to fold that. And for this card, this will be turned this way. Oh, it's not exact, is it? Sometimes that scoring isn't exact. So I'm going to turn it and have this part on the front. But it will be opening this way for the card. So I'm going to put a piece of designer paper from the Animal Expeditions. This measures 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So let me put that on. Now I'm going to put my tape close to the edge over here as I can, because I noticed on another card that I made that was kind of pulling up. So we'll put that down. And now let's work on the inside of this card. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my white piece. It measures the same as the one I put on the front, which was 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And we're going to pull in our Berry Burst ink and stamp the Wild About You. The Wild About You is from the stamp set that we're using, Animal Outing. And I'm going to be adding, excuse me, can't pick it up. I'm going to be adding this alligator that I cut from the paper here. So I think I'm going to want to make sure that I put my printing over on this side. Now I'll show you a little more about those alligators. Good. Now I'll also show you that on the card that I have here is a sample. I don't know if you can tell, but I've cut out the words and put them on there. And that is simply because I made a mistake and my stamping wasn't good. That's what we as stampers do. We cover up our mistakes. So luckily I didn't have to do that on this one. Now the paper that I got the alligator from is actually, you'll have to cut those out. And I've already cut mine out, but I wanted to talk to you for a minute about cutting, and I'm going to cut part of this one. And what I want to tell you, and I'm not going to cut each bump out, but if you'll notice when I cut, I turn the paper rather than my scissors. So as I get up here, I'm going to turn, I'm going to cut that extra off. But I'm going to turn the paper. And that really allows me to have a little more control over what I'm cutting. So I'm going to stop there, but just a little hint about cutting. So I'm going to add my alligator. Now some of the alligators on that face the other way, and it might determine where you would want to put your words. So I'm going to add just a little bit of snail here and there to that. Put it there, and we'll add that to the card inside. So it will be this way. Okay, so now I'm ready to add this part to the other part. And I'm just going to add my snail, sorry about that, to the back. And I'm going to center this as best I can, but I also want to make sure that it's going to look good from the front and centered. So I think that will be okay. And I'm going to push that down. All right, we're ready to decorate the outside of this. And I have a piece of paper. I've already cut out one of these branches here in the interest of time, but we'll color the other one, and let me go ahead and stamp the other things that need to be stamped. We'll stamp the rhinoceros. Now when you have a stamp that's big, just turn your ink pad over and stamp it on top of that. Hopefully that's going to work. Good. I've already stamped another one of the branches, and we're also going to need the word hello. So I'm going to bring in the berry burst. This hello is from the stamp set Beauty Abounds. That's in the Occasions catalog. So there's my hello. Alright, I'm going to bring in the 1-inch circle punch and punch out the hello. And that's going to go, I've already cut this out. This is the 1 1/8 scallop punch. So I'm going to just adhere the 2 of those. And that's going to be for our little flap closure that we have. That little spot there. Okay, so I'll hold that aside as well as this. And we'll do some coloring. So I'm going to use my blends for this. And for the branches, I used the light old olive. And I like to use as much as I can, I guess, the smaller end of that. Notice there's a small line there and a larger line there, and that tells you the big tip or the small tip. There's also a picture there. So I'm just going to color those in. And then I'm going to bring in my darker old olive and just do down here near the ends of my leaves. And then I'll come back in with the light old olive and just kind of blend right in there where that line is. I'm using the light crumb cake for my branches, and it's really hard. That is so thin there to get that without going on the outsides. And then for the frog, I used the light Granny Apple Green for that. And I really did not do any shading at all. I just colored it. So that was pretty simple. For the rhinoceros, I'm going to use the light and dark smoky slate. And I think I'll go ahead and try using the larger end in the interest of getting it done. And I already went out of the lines. Now the good thing about the rhinoceros is it really is already shaded for you. So you can just add some of the shading where they have it added. So I just kind of outlined and I'm coloring the inside. That doesn't look very smooth, but I'm going to come back. So I'm going to take my dark and just do some of the shading right where they have some of the shading already done for us. Now, might do a little bit more under there. And then I'm going to come back and kind of smooth out all the lines. But there really isn't a lot. I really just did not take a lot of time, you can see, in getting all of that shaded a specific way. I like to color. I'm not so great on knowing how to shade and how to do that kind of thing. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of the light crumb cake here on his tusk. And I think I'm going to put a little bit of the color lifter on there to smooth that out a little. Then for the bird, I'm going to color with the light Granny Apple Green. I think I better get that small end here. And I'm going to use the dark Daffodil Delight to do these little bill and feathers here. All right, so we'll be cutting this out with the Animal Friends framelits, and I'll be using this piece and this piece. So let me pull in my Big Shot and we'll get those cut out. And today I do have on here the magnetic platform and a clear plate, and then we'll be adding another clear plate. So let me place these on here. Okay, I think that'll do it. Add the other clear plate and we'll just run this through. Okay, and here are our pieces. Quick and easy. Alright, we'll add these to our card, and I'm going to add this first little branch, a little bit of glue. Oops. And it's going to go like this. And I think before I add the other, I'll put on my rhinoceros to make sure we've got plenty of room for him. And I'm going to put him on dimensionals. Okay, about there. And then we'll bring in this other branch, and I am going to cut off that poor little frog. We might could use him somewhere else a little later, and we'll glue that on. I just felt like it needed something else down there, and a bit of a branch was the perfect answer for that. All right, the only thing we have left to do is make a closure for our card, and we're going to use this. What we're going to do is add our dimensionals to one side of the hello. And you'll have to look and see where your word is so you'll know exactly which side to put that on. And then I'm just going to close it and put my hello down where I think it should go. And now we should be able to open that and close it. So that's all there is to this. Let me bring in the other card that I had made. And this is using Animal Expedition Suite. So I will link my blog post to this, and I would appreciate you visiting there where all the measurements will be. If you need any supplies, I would love to be your demonstrator, and I would love to help you, and you will find a link to my online store also with this video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.